of no confidence. And I don't think that's cancel culture. I think that's simply just accountability. That's democracy in action. And he's now saying he won't step down because of procedural flaws, in the vote,
Yeah, and George is claiming that part of this is racism as to why this no confidence vote is being placed against him. What's your take on that?
I think it's just it just shows his level of immaturity. For him to be able to say what he did, Charlie Kirk just got effing shot, let's go, in a public WhatsApp group already shows you the kind of human being that this person is. So, when he's ousted and he's calling it racism, you could already tell, the kind of angle he's going to go down. So I think it's a bunch of nonsense. I know many students of color, many alumni of color who voted in the no confidence debate and are not fans of him because of what he said. So I think it's total nonsense for him to say it's racism.
Well said. I'm glad we got that out because, I'm going to explain this when we get back from the break. It's called DAVO. It's how, I'll explain it after the break. We're going to welcome back National Radio in about 5 seconds. Hang right there. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the Charlie Kirk Show. We're talking about Oxford Union, which many believe is the most prestigious debate society on the planet, certainly within the UK and within Europe. And Charlie was just there, and they're trying to put in place, or they were, a man who celebrated Charlie's death. Charlie actually debated him at Oxford Union. Why this is a big deal, and please bring in all of our guests here really quick on the visual. Why this is a big deal is because if we allow this to stand, we understand in America that we probably wouldn't exist in our current form. Well, we definitely wouldn't have if it wasn't for what we inherited from England and from the Commonwealth. The Christian society that we inherited here. We have to maintain this posture, I think, globally, Dr. Orr and Daniel. I think that it's important because if we start becoming an island with the only place where we have the First Amendment that people believe in free speech, then we are going to be increasingly pressed upon by this transatlantic alliance where we're going to have our speech curtailed. And we've seen that already, especially in Joe Biden's tenure. So we need to insist that a robust free speech ecosystem exists within Western allies and Western countries. And that being said, celebrating somebody's death is completely across the line. Nobody's saying he needs to go to prison. Nobody's saying that he's going to get a knock on the door because he tweeted about migrants or something like happens in the UK. We're just saying he's not fit to serve in this prestigious role. And I just want to present this to you. DARVO, I want our audience to understand. DARVO, it's an acronym for deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender. It's a manipulative tactic used by people that have done something wrong or perpetrated an ill or evil to avoid responsibility. So it does not surprise me that he would deny that he did apologize, I will say that, but then he will reverse victim and say that now he's the victim of racial attacks and this old, white institution or whatever he's saying. But that is the sequence of events that we're seeing. That is the pattern that is unfolding. Dr. James Orr, do you believe that George is a victim of something here? You know this institution.
Well, listen, look, nobody is victimizing him. He called the vote of no confidence himself. And so, nobody is forcing this on him. He simply put this motion to the membership, and it is therefore a matter for the membership to decide how they want to vote. And it turned out that, by a majority of 70%, they wanted him out. And I think the view is, look, it's not, I think, that, there's this wonderful institution of free speech and yet also, there are limits. No, actually, the reason the members have taken the view that they have is precisely because it is such an important cradle of free speech. And any such important cradle needs somebody at the helm who is publicly celebrating the values and the institutional ethos of the Oxford Union. If you are celebrating the violent assassination of a free speech hero, somebody whose free speech credentials were obvious to everyone and certainly obvious to Abronier because he debated him himself, then that is simply that undermines the institution. It brings the reputational shame on the institution. And so one more thing I want to say, yes, Andrew, is that we mustn't think of Abronier's conduct as representative of the attitudes of Brits, and particularly young Brits, towards Charlie Kirk. I was with my son and a few students opposite Downing Street on Whitehall 2 days after Charlie's assassination. It was so moving. There were thousands of people there with pictures of Charlie. There was candles everywhere. There was worship music. There was prayer. It was a celebration of his life. And the following day at this big rally controversial rally in London really was just a celebration of Charlie. And it was just wonderful and very moving to see what an impact he'd had so many thousands of miles away on young Brits, people on the left and the right. People had enormous respect for him. So let's not let this incident make your viewers think that somehow this is anything other than a terrible anomaly in terms of how Charlie was celebrated, how he was respected, and how grieved so many of us are on this side of the country, this side of the Atlantic, in the mother country, at his shocking death. And we honor him, and we're so grateful to you for carrying on his legacy, and we are cheering Turning Point USA on from afar.
Well, thank you for saying that. And that is something that we've brought up a lot, actually. I brought it up with Vice President J.D. Vance just last week. And yeah, there are these instances, these anomalies of people that are, espousing just vitriol and hate and really evil stuff. And they're doing it publicly. In this instance, it was a private chat, but they are doing it publicly in the United States. That is a small fraction of the overwhelming amount of love that we have seen pour in from the country, this enthusiasm, and you see it in Turning Point's growth. We're going to keep going with these wonderful guests in the break. Don't go anywhere.